Okay, so I'm going to look kind of at a more kind of functional presentation. I'm going to look at rotation and rotational integrity. I deal with a lot of athletes, so I deal more in the performance side of things. And the reality is I deal with high performance athletes. So hockey players, rugby players, rotational screens are critical. A lack of rotational control is really a simple strategic way to start to evaluate whether someone's going to have some lower back pain. And a lot of the hockey players I see with chronic adductor issues, it's a pelvic floor issue. They lack rotational integrity or control. Rotation's important, but I say this all the time. I really believe that the idea that we have to have ownership of a motor pattern before we assign speed is essential. So we're going to look at this through a lens of performance. Structure feeds function. Function feeds structure. The fact is it's a very dynamic relationship. If we improve the structures that support function, function will improve. And as the body moves more, what do you think is going to happen? Structural outcomes are better. The tissues are healthier. So we really have to look at a feed forward loop when we start to look at function in this particular instance. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple rotational, just simple active range of motion. And then I'm going to do a resisted test to test her rotational integrity left or right. We're going to see if it's weak. And we're going to see, more importantly, is she symmetrical? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two sets of tools. I'm going to use cups, and I'm going to show you how to grade cups, how to utilize cups through both static and dynamic strategies. I believe that the best outcome for cupping is by way of dynamic applications and movement associated with cupping. I'm a big movement guy, so everything I do as a therapist, as we've talked about, is really about movement and optimizing control. Because if we have better control, we're all going to live in a pain-free environment. It's an easier solution. So here's what we'll do first. I'm just going to have you stand up for me. I'm going to have you face the crowd. I'm going to put your hands here, and I'm just going to have you rotate to the right side. And is that painful? Okay, and then come back, and then we'll screen this way, up here. Perfect. Any pain at all? So little. Okay. I'm going to get you to do something now. I'm going to get you to face me. I'm going to put my hand here, and I'm going to put my hand here, and I'm going to apply some force, and I'm going to have you try to resist rotation. Okay, wait. I'll tell you when to go. Good try, good timing, and go. Pain? Yeah. Okay. So she's got pain. She's resisting rotation. The ability to control it is not bad, but it's a painful expectation for her to be there. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to push and resist. Okay. Pain? Weakness. Okay, so this is very weak. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you first go face down, and I'm going to cup. So hopefully you can see, Sam, if you can just get over top of the cups. I'm going to show you how to grade the cups and the application of cups. These are a little different. I work with Cupping Canada, but I use rock pods, and I'll show you how we use them and grade the cups. You can't put cups on full force with everyone because it can be uncomfortable if the area is really sensitized. So I'm going to use a small group of cups, and these are rock pods. And I'll show you why they're so unique. Good? That'll be good. I'm just going to roll this up. Is that okay? Okay, so cool part of these cups, they have a little door handle on them. The wonderful application is I can apply them and start to do some pumping and some fascial shear. And I'm going to show you how to do what we consider direct external glides, indirect external glides. And then I'm going to have Tina move, and she's going to move through ranges of motion that force internal glide with the cups assigned. So we're going to assign a movement pattern to it. So the first thing we do, we can grade cups. Simple. You can first start with something called a plunge application. This is the lowest grade. And I simply put it on the skin, let it go, and it will open up. That's a relatively low grade application. The second one is to take the cup and pump. And then I pump the cup on. And then lastly, I can invert the cup. And this is a little more aggressive. When I apply a cup, number one, there is a neurosensory component to everything that we do that's skin-based. I'm applying a cup to an area that might have a muddy representation in the brain. Can I retool or refine the messaging on the way in by refining application through this sensory system? Secondly, I'm going to decompress tissues that could be densified. And I said this morning, the densification of those tissues alter the sensory interface. The messaging on the way is faulty or muddied. And if the brain doesn't have a great sense of what's going on, it's not going to grant you a lot with regards to both motor control and strength. Fact. Strength is granted. You can't just beat strength into the human body. I train a ton of hockey players, NHL players, and the fact is when they first come into the gym, we spend the first 3 weeks trying to rectify a lot of their movement impairments. No weight. And they panic. They say, I've got 12 weeks. At some point, I'm going to shoot a puck or fight or do whatever I do. All my guys go into camp and they generally win the strength testing and our injury rate's super low. Because before you load a movement, you need to refine and make sure that the movement is clean and efficient and the brain has an adequate level of control. So that's what we're going to try to do. The second thing with a cup is by decompressing that tissue, I'm going to create a change in that underlying fluid dynamic. Incredibly important because it's that fluid dynamic that facilitates what happens in those layers of fascia. Lastly, there's some really good research on cupping. When I create skin shear, something is released called heme oxygenase. Heme, under conditions where fascia and tissue is injured, heme is an inflammatory oxidative mediator. So what we do with cupping is heme oxygenase kind of floods into the area and changes that inflammatory outcome. It changes the tissue health. So I'm going to grade the tissue first. I'm going to put 4 cups on. I'm just going to put this one here. Have you had cupping before? Okay, I'm sure you have. I'm going to put it on with a little more intensity. You good? Okay. So I've just placed 4 cups on the paraspinal axis. Here's my first application, static. Leave them on there. Leave them on for 1 or 2 minutes because I really want her and her brain to have a sense of what's going on in this region. My second application can be something as simple as pumping. And pumping this tissue is a really, really fundamental external pump for these underlying connective tissue, this matrix. Now what I can do with these applications is I can take these cups, I can pull out them, and now I can rotate and shear. And this is the sweet spot. Now, where we are right now is the thoracolumbar fascia. It is incredibly important and integral to rotational control. And when it's densified, there's a problem. Studies by Langevin and Langevin Associates, very clear. They looked at low back pain, and we have ultrasound diagnostics to show that everyone with low back pain lacked a shear or glide of the underlying tissue, and it's quantified in the diagnostics. 100% correlation. If all we do is change the health and the underlying mechanics of this fascial system through the thoracolumbar fascia, we're going to change how this person moves. We're also going to affect through the thoracolumbar fascia these oblique slings. They pass from shoulder, contralateral hip, and this oblique sling system is critical to rotational control. So I'm going to make her move. We're going to tape it accordingly, and then we're going to reassess her rotational integrity when she has to apply force. How you doing? I'm having this conversation while you're just laying there. You good? All right. So I'm going to glide these. Now, I can also do some external glides. And from here, separate and motion. How you doing? Feels good. So I've got this decompressive axis, and I'm simply gliding the tissue in every possible direction. Okay, we're going to add the next piece in. What I'm going to get you to do now is, are you good going into a child's pose? Okay. So now we can work from what we consider a flat position where she's relaxed to a stretched position. And when she gets to the stretch position, I can continue with the cups and start to shear with even more aggression because now she's got a lengthened platform to work from. The key is you've got options. You don't have to throw everything at everyone the minute they come in your office. If someone's never had cupping, start statically, put the cups on, play with the cups a bit, and leave them in a position where the tissue isn't stretched. And then the last thing I can have her do is come back into this position and now start to glide into these positions slowly. Is that painful? Are you okay? It should be great. With the cups on and allowing this mechanism to glide through this pattern, anytime you can bring movement into a strategic outcome with this toolbox, key. And keep going. 2 more. How you doing? No pain, right? Fantastic. Okay. Now, the next thing I could have her do is stand and just do some simple rotation. So I'm going to have you stand and face them that way. And I'm simply going to have you put your hands like this. And I'm just going to bring you into positions of rotation with the cups on. How's that feel? The cupping is amazing. No pain, gold. You're going to bring it back into rotation. Your rotation's already better. It's crazy good. Okay, I'm not done yet though. This will make a world of difference.
I can feel the restrictions differently on each side.
Okay. Any pain though, Tina? You're not having pain at all?
There's just tightness where your
Tightness is different. I'm good with tightness.
pain, just the pulling of the cup.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to pop the cups off. I'm going to have you go back into child's pose again. If you can do that. How you doing? Okay. One thing about cupping, important. Explain to your patients you're going to have small circles. We don't agree. Sometimes I don't call it bruising. I call it just discoloration of the tissue, but make sure you advise them as to that. Some people will get cupping, have no idea, go home and have these round bruises, what they consider bruises on their back, and panic. I can assure you, here's the deal. The bruising and the degree of bruising tells you nothing about the effect of cupping. Some people will bruise or have the discoloration in 5 seconds. Other people will take 3 minutes. Leaving them on longer with more bruising or more discoloration does in no way amplify the effect. It's a 3-minute window, 4-minute window. So now I'm going to do the next piece, which I think is game changing. These are cups and they're vibrational. Low grade vibration. There's an entire sector of research being done at CMCC where they're looking at vibration, the degree of vibration, the frequency and amplitude of vibration or input, and changing tissue tone. I'm going to put this on the lowest level of vibration. This will feel amazing. And I can do all the same things. I'm just stacking a second input or a second modality, that being vibration, into the platform. And I'm going to do all the things I did already. I can mobilize this tissue and create shear in every direction. I can glide the tissue above and below the cup, so I have an external glide that is more indirect in its application. And then go back to movement, level 3. Come in and go back into extension. How's that feel? Vibrating cups to desensitize low back, amazingly effective. Okay, one more thing, I'm going to tape you. Okay? I'm going to have you stand right there in front of the table. Sorry. Perfect. 2 minutes. Awesome. Put your hands right there. Okay, taping is simple. Again, myth. You're not bracing anything. You're not holding stuff in place. Taping is a neurological strategy. You're using tape to prime the nervous system and prime the underlying tissues so the messaging's better and the tissue health is improved. You're going to decompress the tissue. Really simple. You stretch the person, not the tape. So I'm going to have you just put your hands on the table and stretch right there. Perfect. I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to prime that thoracolumbar fascia, and you'll see your rotation will improve dramatically. Rotational strength right there. So round the edges of the tape, stretch the person, not the tape. The biggest mistake with tape is overstretching the tape. Again, just like cupping, putting more stretch in the tape in no way amplifies the effect of tape. It's a very subtle intervention. So I'm going to just take the tape, come out to the oblique line. I'm going to engage the lateral wall, come down through. So I'm going to cross, I'm going to engage the oblique axis and come through that thoracolumbar fascia. And we'll see if it changes rotation. Okay, stand and face them. Hands up. Rotate left and right now. Any pain?
No.
Gold. Okay, hang on. Here's the $1 million test. Stand in front of me. This is the one that's the best one. When this works, this is going to solve it because you're going to have that integrity. When you move, you're not going to bleed into the transverse plane. You're going to have control of this planar axis. I can't even move her right now. Like I'm pressing as hard as I can. Go. I can't move you. It's okay. How's it feel?
Great.
You're good to go, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you.